I think they're the ones that need to give me advice. They are, they're definitely more tech savvy than I am. I mean, even today, I think I forgot to share sound on my Zoom call about 4 times today, and it's the end of the year. But yeah, there's definitely a lot I can learn from beginning teachers, and I actually have been calling on some beginning teachers this year, which is a huge help to me. But if I'm going to give them some pieces of advice, it would be arm yourself with the research to advocate for your program. Find creative ways to keep band in your program. If you don't have enough instruments to go around for everybody, then cohort your grades. You know, one grade can do it for a couple of months, another grade can do it for another couple of months. Be visible in your school. Make sure that you are a regular fixture in your administrator's office. Let them know how important this program is to you and to your students. Let the community know what you are doing. The community is on your side. Let the parents know what you're doing. You can do that through performances outdoors or sending recordings like I did through the e-newsletter of what the students are creating. And don't give up on band just because we can't play inside right now. Don't give up on it because there's ways of doing it.
I would honestly say you need to make sure this is really what you want to do. Arts education is not the same right now. It has changed a significant amount since 2004 when I started teaching. And you really just need to drop your expectations at the door at this point in time, because music is well, we're facing great challenges. I would join as many music educator, I call them support groups, as possible. So there's lots of band director groups on Facebook, and depending on your community, there's a lot of valuable resources there. Connect with musicians in your community and share what you are doing with other musicians in your community. You may think you have a silly idea, but there's someone out there that could use that silly idea and could perhaps run with it, and together you could create something really great. So in that respect, I guess taking a chance with something that you are not comfortable with. I would say overall, you need to be patient with your students. They don't necessarily have the coping skills and the resiliency to come out of this pandemic as we do. And we need to listen and be as good of a role model as we can and try to find those little ways that sparks joy in their lives and capitalize on what makes them feel included and safe in your room. They're going to need a lot of support moving forward. And if we don't have that band family and in our classrooms, our music programs aren't going to happen. So we really need to focus on that part. I would also say to be prepared to advocate for your program. So be up to date on any health and safety protocols. This is going to be essential depending on the support that you have from your administration and your school board. So really to be armed with the most up-to-date information and be comfortable and prepared to advocate for your programs as necessary. And lastly, I would just say to really create a support network for yourself. And it doesn't need to be of other music teachers. It could be other teachers in a school that you are currently working in, but that'll be a valuable resource for you moving forward.
Don't get discouraged. This is not music education. Teaching online, it is not music education. Teaching music there's nothing better than teaching a student to play across the break in the clarinet, to understand what the trans movement is all about through music. There's nothing better. And when we get to the end of this pandemic and when we can play as ensembles live again, and we will, that's what we want. That's why we do the long hours, the no lunches, you have to pee for 4 hours and you just don't have time because there's always a student asking for extra help. That's why you should do it. But don't get discouraged now, because now is not right. Hopefully next year we can start having live music in schools. I would hope that September of 2022 will be normal, right? And but now on that same token, because it's not normal this year, learn as much as you can so that you're as prepared as you can be for when things are normal. So the OBA speakeasies, they're phenomenal. They're great chances to talk to other educators about issues in the classroom this year, or how are you going to approach next year or the year after. The Canadian Band Association, A Time to Share, has been a phenomenally successful new initiative through the CBA. There are different symposiums by the OBA and others. All of the chapters of the CBA are doing things online. And just because you don't live in Winnipeg doesn't mean you can't go to the Manitoba Band Association events, because the one good thing out of this pandemic is Zoom, or whatever other service that whomever tries to use. The one good thing is that there are no borders now. There's no barriers to access. So if I want to be an auditor for the Northwestern Conducting Symposium, I can do it right here. I don't have to go to Chicago for a week. I mean, I'd love to go to Chicago for a week. Who wouldn't? But I don't have to spend that money. I can just pay my tuition and sit on my computer and absorb all the great information. Will it be as good as being there in person? No, of course not. But sometimes you just don't have that opportunity. So be patient. Don't get discouraged, and learn as much as you can. Seek out the wise old teachers and ask them, how would you start your first band practice after the pandemic? And because you may think you know, but until you have done it X amount of times, you might not know, right? So sometimes you don't, it's that old adage, you don't know what you don't know. Just ask. And if you've already asked that question to 3 teachers, ask a 4th. There's nothing wrong with more information, and it might be a different approach, which there's nothing wrong with that either.
Be ready for anything. As we've seen, who would have thought we would be going through this right now? So I think you need to be flexible. You need to be prepared to pivot at any point. You need to be forgiving, right? And not only to the students, because they're going through a tough time, but also to yourself. And I think, there were some moments this year where I really struggled, and I thought, you know what? You're doing fine. Give yourself a pat on the back, and next class will be better. And here's the goal, right? Stay with the course. So I think, be forgiving. Put the time in. Okay, I could have easily last spring said, I don't know about this. This is not going to work, and just kind of procrastinated or forgotten about it. But I put my nose to the grindstone, and I did a lot of work during the summer to make sure I was prepared. And your administrators will appreciate that. They don't know much about this pandemic either. It's all very scary, and they don't know much probably about music and music making and wind instruments. So for them to have somebody who has done some research and put a document together, they appreciate that, and then it can inform their decisions. So put the time in. Little things matter. Okay, every little thing. Anything you say to the students, messages. We use a learning management system. We use EDSB. We also use MS Teams with all of this virtual. But there's also email. But I make sure I reach out to the students and send them little messages now and then. And sometimes I'll copy their parents if it's something really nice, and or just say, look, I really appreciated that comment you said, or some good feedback for tests, saying, hey, I really appreciated this. I can see your attention to detail here. And so, putting the time in and the little things, it's going to take you a long way. There's so many things. I wish I could have told this to myself, 20 years ago. But another thing is, I kind of alluded to this before, but you got to lift up, you got to showcase, you got to celebrate. You have to make sure the students know that no matter where they are, we're all in the same boat. We're all just learning, and we're all trying to just get better, right? And that we're all going to appreciate the efforts, no matter where you are. Okay, that's a big one. Students want to know they're valued, and that the work they're putting in is helping. Not only themselves, but we're seeing it. Some tech. I wish I would have had a bit more tech, although I've learned a lot more this year. But just some basic audio editing, maybe start with the video editing, maybe a little bit of that. I know a little bit more now, but a little bit of that earlier on could have helped me. There's a trombone over here. Learn a lot of instruments. I'm a flute player, but I'll grab a bunch of instruments and model for them and show, and it's kind of funny sometimes when I make some mistakes or I don't sound so good, and the students know, right? We're all just learning. I'm still learning too. Patience. Be patient with yourself, with the students. Don't take things too personally, right? Sometimes it's not that at all, right? And then lastly, I think networking, professional development, resources, OBA, organizations. I think when people talk about jazz and jazz improvisation, they say a lot how really it's all just about stealing from somebody else, right? I'm going to steal this little jazz lick from Charlie Parker and this one. Teaching is a lot the same thing. You're going to take little nuggets from everybody you meet and all these little PD sessions you attend, and you're going to learn from everybody, and you're going to tuck it into your little toolkit, and then it's there forever, right? You might use it in a different way than somebody else, and who knows, but all those little tidbits will really help in the long run.